because it's the way I feel is like, because we don't think we're enough, that we need competition, but at a higher level, we're all complete. We don't need anything.
Yeah.
But we compete against others because either like we want fame, we want friends, we want this, we want that, because we feel we're not complete and we're trying to complete ourselves.
It's a belief in scarcity.
And it's going to the external, right? Instead of, as you say, Pascal, focusing on the completeness of what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, competition is the energy of not enough.
I divides we as a whole. And it was, I've heard it before, but it is a wonderful connection this morning, Pascal. It's like the different levels. We can compete on this level, rise above it and look at it. So it to me, that allows it to be okay on one level, on a level. And from another level to see, oh, the other side of it, the whole situation, rather than a competition.
Yeah, you ever like play against someone? Like I got this image, like I play badminton with a friend of mine. And even though like he beat me most of the time and probably almost all the time, he always gets mad. and then I'm like, I feel like he's so attached to winning that when like, I gain a few points and like things are not going his way, then he gets mad. And I like, to me, like I was just like, is there something wrong with me in the sense? Because like I'm like, I don't get mad. I'm like, if I win, good. If I lose, fine. It's fine, I have a little bit of competition in me, but it's getting less and less. I like to practice good shot. Like it's not like I'm giving out, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give my all, but I don't have attachment to winning or losing.
I was just going to say that's the difference. Right? You can have a desire to improve the skill, but you're detached from the outcome of that. All you're going for is your assessment of that skill, or somebody else's to improve it and to collaborate and improve it. But you still hold it loosely enough. Not too loose, not too tight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, badminton is one of my favorite games of all time, and my real joy real joy in playing that game is to lay the bird right on the edge of the line.
Mm.
Like every single time I do that, I get a jolt. You know, just like the perfect shots. You know?
Yeah.
And I just play it for that. I don't play the game to win. I just play it for as many of those moments as I could possibly put together.
Mm.
So it's interesting. That's what I was feeling when you were talking about playing the game, Pascal. And that really dovetails with a theme that I've been exploring the last few days in my writing. And it's about your core values. So I would say when I approach the game of badminton, for me, it's about joy. The highest value for me in the game of badminton is experiencing joy. The joy of laying the bird on the line, or right on the cross lines, or just on the edge, just inside the court.
Yeah, for me, it's those drop shot.
Yeah, exactly. And perfecting a drop shot,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really the joy. That's my value.
It's not like the outcome.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
It's moment to moment.
In fact, it always frustrated me that I couldn't find people to play with. Like, there's not. Since I left Canada, I've never found anybody even played the game.
Yeah.
But to find other people who have a similar value playing the game. And for a while, actually, when I was in Oregon, I did a lot of subbing at school because my wife taught at a boarding school, and they actually played badminton there, which was really cool. But the funny thing was nobody knew how to play the game. So, but yeah, that was the kind of attitude too there that I took on as well, is kind of teaching the joy of badminton. People, I mean, so when I got to teach it that too, that was the joy of it as well.
Mm.
To like share that whole thing about developing skill together. And when it comes right down to it, it's the same thing we do in this group here. We just draw out each other's genius. Develop each other's skill.
Yeah, discovering people's
It's not competition. It's something. It's a lot more valuable than that.
What comes to me with this again is that notion of mogul. That's about how do you want to spend your heartbeats?
Yeah. You can craft a joyful game of badminton. You can create mutual joy. It's an opportunity to create mutual joy.
Yeah.
Shared communal joy.
Pascal, I have a story for you about a little boy. His mum, she's one of our friends. She was having a bit of a difficult morning, and he was being rather demanding. So he was 3.5 at the time. And she was a bit stern with him about something in all of this. And he looked at her and he said to her, you know, Ula, you shouldn't get so angry. It's going to spoil your day today.
Mhm. Wow. 3.5 years, eh?
3.5 years.
Wow.
And I know him, you know, as a grown man. And he's like that to this day. He is so chill about life altogether. He's one of the loveliest people I've ever met. Absolutely adore him. But she said that was her parenting school completed.
Yeah, yeah,
No kidding.
yeah.
Why? He just says like detach from your emotion,
Exactly.
Wow.
right? So we can, I mean, I found a little bit easier to detach from my thoughts,
Correct.
but detach from my emotion,
There's a little more to that.
it's a bit more.
Yeah,
It's a bit more.
exactly.
Just to, yeah, but to know that there's one that is the highest, which means it'll always work out the best, and it's in the area of joy. I think that is, Craig, you said it's like the intention for badminton was joy. It's like that theme, holding that theme in every domain of life. If that's the point, if that's what we go for, if that's the alignment for it, then we're able to see when we're out of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a good shortcut to think of hey, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
How
Now,
much joy am I having at the moment?
being aware to ask that's a practice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with it when it's way out of joy, like that's a practice.
It's a really,
And I mean,
really good form of homeostasis.
yeah. And I mean, if you think of your competitor who he's competition, he's competing, he's angry when he wins. What's the intention there? And that goes for everything. Every game of badminton in life.
Yeah, it's a motivation or a motivator.
Yeah. And I think as we move out from the games as a view, I think it becomes more of just the default pattern, right? The automatic. Just the way of being, the way we are,
Yeah, it's
unaware that we can change it.
an every man for himself
Mhm.
kind of attitude or survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty primal, actually. There's only one carcass, and we need to fight over it.
I need my share.
The territorial.
Mhm. No, it's just something we can try when we're aware of it. It's try a joy. What would show up in joy? What space does joy make? Where is it all about me? Where could I gather, include others in the we?
Yeah, that's what I was suggesting too. Like, when we play badminton, let's craft a joyful game together. Let's craft a joyful experience.
Mhm.
Where both of our greatness combine. You ever tried to play badminton by yourself?
No,
Yeah.
no.
You ever tried to meditate by yourself, Jesse?
Mhm. Yeah. It's about as much fun.
But that's why I'm bringing this up now,
Good.
is because that's basically what we're doing here.
Mhm.
We're creating, we're combining and synthesizing together and creating an experience that is unavailable otherwise.
Mhm.
Makes it so valuable.
And so we intend to play a game of badminton with the intention of joy. Ready, set, go. So first we sit down and we plan out all of our shots. We plan out how we're going to do it. We're going to sit and have a conversation. We're going to think about how we're going to actually do it before we go and do it, right?
Right.
Now, normally we don't do that in a game of badminton, but we do that in business all the time,
Of course.
right? When in reality, none of that fucking matters.
Right. Because we've made business work instead of play.
Yep. First, number one. Yeah, number one. Number two in the play, the badminton, we go and play until we're aware that, oh, remember we set our intention to be joy. Are we being that? Are we doing that? Are we having that? Oh, no, readjust. The intention brings the alignment back in if we're in agreement of that. And then there's a horizon of time that happens until some pattern sneaks up and pulls us out of it again.
Yeah.
It's so much harder by ourselves to notice that, to keep the intention, to keep where we're going, to keep the focused on the end result, because we're not conditioned that way.
Yeah.
That's working together, aligns it, brings it back, aligns the intention. Oh, I can see where I'm out of that intention, and adjust it. And that is building new patterns. 214 days of patterns today. Oh, 214 days of playing badminton, playing joy. There it is, 214 days of playing joy.
Yeah. Yeah. 214 days of education.
Gathering, breaking through, scattering.
Levering each other's genius.
Yeah. Together, seeing the whole.
Yeah.
Through our one point, through our one perspective, and expanding it. Equally, as best we can. You're never there. It's not like you ever get there. The extracting genius. Yes, and to what someone else says. Learning how to say yes and.
We've also created a sustainable experience. We were talking about that the other day, as you know, every time we come together, we discover more. In fact, I've come to trust that more will be here every single time we meet.
Yeah.
All of us will experience more. Reliable. Abundance is reliable.
When those intentions are there, we can choose to step into them. We can choose to amplify them. It's the intention. It's like having a sustainable intention.
Intention has become a state of mind, a state of being.
I was noticing that it's we talked about yesterday when you like forcing it. So like a competition in a way is forcing something.
Yeah.
For me, just the simple example of what's my word today, as it gets closer and as the time between where I am and when the call starts, two things happen. It can go one of two ways. One, I can force pressure to come up with a word and it never happens. Yeah. Or the other one is relax into the end of it. And when I'm relaxed right at the end of the time slot, ready to scatter and step into something new, the brilliance shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Jess, when you were talking about the energy around competition earlier, what came to me was it's the same process, right? The external between ourselves and others as what we can apply internally with our different parts. Right? We relax into them. We make space for all to exist. And then we choose our joy.
Yeah.
You just spoke my word for today. It's surrendering.
Nice.
Mhm. Which is the best in competing, the best way is to surrender. It shows the whole, it shows the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between surrendering and giving up.
Very
Mhm.
Right?
Some may not know
Surrendering
the
for
difference.
me, it's seeing the potential without attachment.
That's right. And appreciating their potential too, eh, Pat?
How about even surrendering to the potential?
That's
Again,
getting deep.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the charges, right? The charge that we've attached to the words. And most of society, in a competitive society, right? Surrendering is an undesirable situation.
Yeah, it seems as getting defeat.
Yeah.
Weakness.
Yeah.
But it's completely opposite. It's powerful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. When we surrender to it, we can see it's powerful, but not until then.
Yeah.
Surrendering. Not giving up. Surrendering my fixed perspective, surrendering my automatic, surrendering my normal way of being, and opening. So surrendering an opening to the other, everything else, all the other potential. The whole. If it's this, then it can be that. And
Here's
everything
another-
in between.
Here's another part of that. If you have a competition mindset,
Yes.
there's no way you're going to surrender to the joy of play.
Mm.
You know, the game's going to be all about competition. It's going to be all adversarial. It's going to be that energy, right?
Mhm.
How can you even see the potential joy in that from that vantage point?
How can you relax?
Well, yeah. How can you experience joy? Like it's
Well, the way it could be is I'll have joy when I win. At the
And-
end is when joy will be there.
And the thing when you're in competition, like you're so much in your head, right? Like, oh, how can if I make him move this way, it's gonna go this way, and then da 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 da. But really, you're not playing in the moment. What about if that person is going the other way? Right? So like you can't see the potential because you're only like, you have one way in your mind and it has to be this way.
Yep.
So you can't relax to any other way.
so are you really playing? Or are you doing something else?
Well, you're playing in your head.
Which, yeah,
Right, a good example, like I play frisbee golf, right? Once
Yep.
in a while. Like I haven't played for a long time again. And I go back home and then I got friends that plays all the time, right? So they're really, really good. And then I stepped on the court and usually like, I'll be like, okay, I'm thinking about all my technique and like throw the frisbee, like very, very nice and all that. And I was like, you know what? Who cares? So yeah, I start playing and then like, they were like, oh, you must be playing all the time, eh? Like my shots were just perfect, eh? And I'm like, no, I rarely play actually, you know? And, but yeah, it was just kind of surrendering, I guess, right? Like it was just like,
Mhm.
I wasn't even thinking about the only, I know it was one word, I think White Cloud was saying, right? Like the only aim was my target. How to get to the target, it wasn't my business, right? So I was just throwing the frisbee, like looking at the target, and that's it, right? It didn't matter how I throw it. My target that was the only thing.
Yeah. I mean, you read a book sometime about it went through it was his daughter, she's a gymnast, and he was thinking he uncovered her thought process before she went up on and did things, and what she uncovered was she was telling herself not to fall. So she was focusing on not falling, not like on a dismount, not
Yeah.
falling. That was the focus. That was the target, not falling.
Yeah. Like my wife, her target for the dog is like, don't bark, don't bark. And what do you think they do?
Yes.
Don't bark. Like as soon as like they walk out the door, don't bark, don't bark.
Oh, they,
And then I said don't bark. And I'm like, oh my god, like, oh, I gotta
so
laugh
silly.
at this because I'm like,
Yes.
okay, so should I say something or like she'll learn it on their own, right? It's just like wow, you know. Every single time before they go out, don't bark, don't bark.
Dogs are the best.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, we only hear the last thing, right? So fall and bark. I mean, so those are the two things that happen. So that's
oh
the
yeah,
instructions that our unconscious remembers.
yeah, yeah.
And it's so simple. It's like gymnastics, just stick it, just sorry, just change it to stick it. Same outcome that you want, just different instructions.
Mm.
You're given the energy to stick it
Rather
Give it,
than
you know,
fall.
rather than something else.
Our thinking mind doesn't see the difference in those two. Logically, the logical mind says that means the same thing. Yeah, not at all.
Not at all.
That's
The
the
energy is
example of
totally different.
going. That's the example for going for what you want and avoiding everything else.
Right.
That's a huge difference. Just like giving power away and standing, holding in our power. Same thing as surrendering and giving up. I mean, they're all completely different. It's the paradox, right? The paradox that's in there, sitting in the tension of the paradox.
Yeah, that's the dwelling place. Paradox is the dwelling place of both and.
Mhm. The I and the we is very much in that, right? The I and the we. The me, the them. Us, them. Divide, it's a divide. Wonderful example in the games, right? The competition. It's like, oh, I'll have joy when I win. I'll have joy when I have my money, when I have my raise, my career, my blah, 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 this house, the material. When I have those things out there, then I'll be joyful. It's not sustainable. Nor does it work all the time.
Oh yeah. That's the joy of creating that organism that keeps on replenishing itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the practice is like, can you transcend a frustrating moment into a joyful moment?
And most people would never even think that to do that.
Right? Because you choose, right? Like you choose the emotion. And they're not real because everybody has different emotion for different events. You know, like you can have someone that passed away, like your dad, say, and you can be very, very sad. Another person is like, thank God this old man is dead. You know?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
your emotions are not real. But you're putting energy towards them that make them real to you.
Yep.
Yeah, they're very individual, very subjective.
So what comes to mind for me, Pascal, when you said that emotions aren't real, is that the subtle difference between emotions, which we label as feelings, and experience. And what I mean by that is that experience resides in the body, so do emotions, but emotions are our interpretation of that experience. So in meditation, you go for the experience. You're not working on the emotion.
Yeah, and that's what we do every morning, experience learning.
Yeah.
And there might be, you know, sometimes there's emotion that comes up out of them.
For sure.
But my practice is like, hey, I'm not my emotion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to attach to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we find every day, that emotion that comes up can mean something totally different.
When we look at them, right, we look at what does that mean? What is that saying? Because they are predictable.
Yeah.
And they're so hard to see on our own.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But in the same time, like we say, we're looking at our emotion. So we're saying it's mine. I got to look into it. I got to fix myself. I got to do something about it. Right. So I'm with you. You know, I really understand. And then another side, I'm like, well, I'm not going to attach it. It doesn't matter what comes up. You know, and I know like it's it's a practice. You know, it's not like I'm clicking my finger and then like I'm not attached to any emotion that comes up. You know. but it's, maybe like a first practice is like pick and choose, right? Like the one that they're really detrimental for you, then you can explore a little bit and let it go.
Correct.
Well, then I'll. In whatever you're exploring, like explore where you have to be right. The ego, where we experienced that yesterday. It's someone feels someone that they're stepping on their toes, not included, and they throw it. An adult throws a temper tantrum. Escalates, right? And just like, oh my goodness, egos are in the way.
Like competition.
The world's falling apart, but the ego that is so much in this, it's like, oh, I want to look like I'm doing my job. Look at me make a big deal out of nothing. But see, they don't see that in the moment, but everyone else that can see it sees that, and it's like, ooh.
There's a joy disruptor there.
What was that?
There's a joy disruptor.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, because you're expanding your awareness and you see that, right? So I'll give you an example, and then of attachment to my emotion, and it was like pretty stupid in a sense. I go to store and then I buy these dry fruit, and then they're in clearance, right? Like, so it's something that nobody wants to buy, I guess. So and then I grab one bag and I get that the cash registered, and then it runs out as like full price, and then I'm telling the teller, I'm like, well, like they're 50% off, and she was like, oh, where is it? So it's not too far, so she follows me and we go to this aisle, and then she noticed that, oh yeah, it's $3.44, whatever. And then she's grabbing this, I think it's the last bag in that row, and because like I found so cheap, I'm like, well, I'll take two, right? And she was like, oh, maybe like I could take one for my son or my grandson or whatever, I think he would like that. And at the point, like, I'm like, at the time, I'm like, no, I want it, right? So I grab it. She was like, are you sure you want it? And I'm like, yeah, I want it. So I pay for it and stuff. And then like, I think afterward, I'm like, oh my God, like, and like those things are not that good, I mean, and the thing, like, I'm like, oh my God. I almost say to myself, like, oh, such a bad person,
Mhm.
Like, I could maybe make like this grandson like happy and stuff. But in the same time, after like looking at my thought, I'm like, wow, this is stupid, like I'll just learn from it, next time, then I'll do the opposite, right? Like I'll make someone happy. But at the time I felt really freaking bad. I felt really like good because I got the thing, And then like I start eating the thing, and then like I don't feel good at all because they're not good. So I got all these emotions, right? But for like a stupid like little dry fruit, you know, and then practice that non like detachment from my feeling. Yeah, it was a practice. It was definitely a practice. You know,
Oh, yeah.
so. But yeah, it's because of my awareness grew up now, because before I would have just take it and not even think about her or not a grandson, right? But now I'm like, oh, you know, like it would have been better for us to share. So
There's that scarcity model.
yeah,
I hear your dad's model in that too.
oh. Big time. Like I don't want to talk bad about my dad, but my dad, he was kind of the guy that like he loves tools, right? Like he was a carpenter, and every time like he goes to Canadian Tire, he has to bring like a toolbox, and I'm like, Dad, you got like 5 toolboxes you never open, right? But he doesn't see it that way, right? Like he's like, well, you know, maybe I'll live for like 200 years. You never know, right? And I'll need these tools. Yeah, but they're lifetime warranty, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It
You
will wear
can't use
out.
them after you're dead.
It will wear out.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was never enough, right? But yeah, you're right. Like it's a pattern. It's a pattern that I said yes to, right?
Mhm. And
But
we
now
can
that I'm
maybe-
aware that I'm doing that, then I can detach from it.
Mhm. Yes. With practice.
Yeah.
Again and again and again, because that pattern was practice a lot.
Yeah, and it's not like you don't bark. It's not like you don't bark. It's that you change the contents of that pattern. You change it. You change what it is. You don't change the workings of it, but you change its content.
That's right.
And you change your focus.
Correct.
And it's not a one-time deal. It's not a one-time deal.
So I was listening to a channeler yesterday. I don't know. I love listening to these guys. But we also channel, right? But he was saying that like it's not important what you do, but it's important how you do it.
Yeah.
You know, and then that really kind of shocked me, right? Like it was just like, because we put so much attachment on what we do, you know, and even like, you know, I hate people and be like, hey, what do you do for living? What do you do for living? I meditate. Right? Like, it's just like, how is that important, right? It's kind of a competition thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you're not a lawyer, you're not a doctor, you're not a CEO, you're not this, you're not that, then like, oh, you're less than me. I don't know if I can talk to you, right? Like, And I said that because like I was that person, right? It was important for me to know what people do and like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see I can talk to you, or I can see we can get along, right? But now it doesn't matter. To me, anyway.
And it is that razor's edge, that fine line between the emotions we have and that we're not our emotions. We're not our thoughts. And yet we are.
We're not our body. We're not our body.
That too. All these things, right, that are like, oh, that's one point of view is no way that that can be true.
Well, I'll give you an example with my dog Poncho. He jumped out of the car when he was a year old. I was going about 50 kilometers an hour. He saw a rabbit outside. He jumped out of the window. And yeah, and then like he hurt himself pretty bad, right? Like his ankle and stuff. Well, this little bugger, like when I pick him up, he was still trying to run for like the rabbit. And I'm like, don't you feel your body? And now, like, you go to park, and it doesn't matter, like, if he's limping, doesn't care. It's a good example of like, yeah, he's not his body, definitely not.
Gosh, what a force to have to live with. That's amazing.
You know, like, you learn a lot from animals and babies and nature, everything, right? So it's like, but looking like, even like, my other one is a Tori. She's a puggle, so she eats everything, right? And then, so we buy these beautiful steak from Costco, like nice and thick, and then we leave them on the kitchen table. And then we just go like, I don't know, I think we just go out like downstairs. And oh, I think she was cutting my hair. My wife was cutting my hair. We come back, there's no steak left. She ate like 4 of them.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. And then like, I'm like, do you feel bad? No, she doesn't.
Of course not.
Yeah. So yeah, they're definitely not their emotion either.
Do you feel full? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and you say like, who did this? Yeah, you can't tell, you know, like there's nobody home, right?
They were for her. They were for her.
Yeah. Why did you leave them on the table?
Yeah.
You know? I thought they were for me.
That's right. Thank you. I'm so excited. Love you even more now. Let me give you more love. Let me lick you now.
And I'm sure like my wife says like, don't eat the steak. Don't eat the steak before like we went downstairs. Eh? She didn't say that,
right
but
here.
I'm sure like in our mind, she was like, don't eat
right
the steak.
here. Right here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these steak. These ones here.
Yeah, these ones.
Don't eat those
Don't
ones.
eat them.
yeah. Yeah,
All
don't
you-
focus
all you
on them.
hear
Don't
is-
focus on them.
All you hear is eat them. Eat them.
Yeah.
Eat them.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
I just had dinner, but yeah, I'll have 4 steaks. Yeah, frig.
You know, I think back. I think about. I don't think I knew much about mindfulness, but I also was like, as soon as I heard it, was like, I want nothing to do with that.
Mhm.
But mindfulness.
What's that?
Mindfulness.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted nothing to do with it. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. In a competitive, in a success-driven world, right? There's no way that could work. Oh man. Blast from the past. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning from Traverse City, Michigan.
Oh
Yeah.
my word.
Vacation.
Yes, well, you could call it that,
Oh,
or
Yeah,
you
where
could call
do
it
you go for a vacation when you live in Florida?
you could call it a road trip.
Well,
go to
joyful
work.
or frustrating?
What's that? Oh, the
you
word
can, yeah, you can be in vacation when you're working.
You can or
It's a
cannot.
choice. You can. You can.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in
yes, you can.
vacation right now.
There you go. You
Yeah.
can work and be on vacation, and you can be on vacation when you're working. You can do both.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And a
My daughter-
vacation can be joyful and frustrating too. So that's a yes.
yes. So we are going to part ways in a few hours, and we're doing laundry because Mom's leaving some clothes she can live without for 2 months, and Grace doesn't want to have to do them. So the hotel we're at doesn't have a dryer that works. They're still waiting on their dryer. Sound familiar, Jesse? So it's just either the washer or the dryer. So I'm washing the clothes. I got about 15 minutes left, and then I'll load them into a bag and take them into town somewhere and dry them so that what's stuck in her car for 2 months won't be stinky. So that's what I'm doing. And then she goes to camp for counselor training starting at 5, and I'll be at the hotel by myself and have some quiet time. And
Wow.
so I'm looking forward to that. So
Good.
it's nice to connect with you all.
Yes, it's so good to hear your voice this morning.
Yes, it is. That's why I said blast from the past. Welcome.
Well, the word, let's see, I was just enjoying motherhood this morning. It was quite nice. And so my joyful past, present, and future memory is Grace saying, Mom, not all moms would do this for their daughters, and I appreciate it. So to be honored and recognized for the contribution was nice. So it's a long journey, long journey.
Ah. Yeah. All the times that you've done the laundry, huh?
Oh yeah, laundry is just easy. It's not a hard thing.
Yep.
It's symbolic though, isn't it? Cleansing. Out with the dirt, in with the fresh.
Yep, doing the laundry. It's symbolic.
Well, I wouldn't want my dirty laundry sitting in Michigan for 2 months.
No, not this time of year.
Or even the clean, wet laundry.
Yes, yeah. Then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
potentially mildewed laundry.
Yeah.
Pascal, are you like shoveling something? It sounds like metal.
Oh, it's vacation. You know,
Oh,
it's vacation. You
I'm
know, I'm
trying to-
very noisy when I'm in vacation.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the truck when I guess dump bins and whatnot. So yeah, most people get used to it, but it's just, yeah, sometime when there's too many people in the call, then you know, I go on mute and I just listen.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Oh,
Well, thank you for being present. And I'm enjoying the present of being present.
Presently.
Let me present my word, present.
Uh,
Thanks for your presence
You're welcome.
and your present.
well, it matches very well with what we've been discussing and working through and aware of. It's like when we're aware of the presence, we're aware of more than just one thing. Like aware of it. I want to say all, but that's not possible either. Just alternatives, separates. And so we've been looking at the drive for competition, right? The drive for joy, the frustrations, right? And how we're not our emotions, yet they can feel like it. And so it's like the intention, it's like those patterns. It's a road trip. I imagine every mile of that road trip was just fascinating.
Oh, we saw some things I would not have seen in Indiana. They had windmill farms, huge windmill farms.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just took that in. That was interesting. I was like, wow, who has to climb those things to fix them, you know? And how do they get started? You know, like Grace is like, Mom, how does it start? Is there a motor in there? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea.
that's what the wind is for.
So one was stopped. Why was it stopped? I don't know.
Yeah, eventually most of them will stop after a little while.
And then the question is, does it generate more electricity than a plant, than a solar? Does it need to be augmented? I don't know. I don't know much about that technology.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much it wind, like there's wind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And like
or
if it's
sunny.
a really strong wind, does it just, you know, blow the little three fan blades off? Like,
It's
so
happened.
Yep. Or they freeze.
and then I heard that the birds get all confused, so it's not good for them
Yep.
when they get caught up in the airflow. So it's just an interesting. I mean, there's tons of them.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's the
Not
tricky
enough.
part. It's like it kind of ruined the picturesque landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How many oil fields have you seen?
Mm.
Same deal there. Pump jacks all over the place.
Yeah, most of the time they're in places that nobody wants to be.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
sometimes they're not.
That's true too. LA.
Sometimes they're in the middle of the city.
Yep.
Same thing with cellular towers. You know, people are like, I don't want that in my backyard.
Yeah.
There's the electric transformer line in Orlando that's in the 3 circles like Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah.
What was the most joyful part of the trip, Jenny?
The most joyful part was when Grace and I got to sing together in harmony. And she wanted it. She wanted to sing. She goes, can we sing together? I'm like, whoa, okay.
Oh,
So that was the most joyful part for me.
so this is in the car, right?
Yeah, we took a road trip with her, the Honda CRV that she inherited from us. So it's a 2003, same year as she is. And so Greg put some control arms on it before we left and new brake pads, and we got new headlights. So one of the headlights was cracked and had the, you know, the moisture in it, and it was yellowed from being so old. And when we put those new headlights on, it's like a brand new car.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we dumped about $500-600 of parts and Greg's labor into it. And then we were in Grand Rapids and the engine light came on. So that was a little bit scary. So Grace, I was driving, Grace called the AutoZone. She had the presence of mind to do that. It was pretty scary because the big truck's going by, you know, you just feel the wind. So I pulled over as far as I could and I noticed it wasn't hot. And I checked the oil and I was like, you know, we've been checking the oil. So they did their diagnostic and said it was the catalytic converter and that we were safe to drive. So that was good news. So it should just have the engine light on as she's bebopping around Michigan on her day off as a counselor.
She's not staying there for college or anything.
No, she's going to be a camp counselor for a church camp.
Awesome. Yeah.
And she was a camper there for 8 years. And then when COVID hit, all that hit, she wasn't able to do a counselor and training summer. So she's going straight into being a counselor. But she's really looking forward to it. And we went to the camp yesterday and talked to the assistant director. And she's like, I feel good, Mom. It's going to be good. And so today they'll set up their cabins and then they have a week of training and then the campers come next week. And she'll be writing camper reports to parents and she'll be teaching silversmithing. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So yesterday we went into this little gem shop and she found some gems, some stones, crystals that she was interested in. So she's going to try to wrap a few things with silver as she's teaching and create something. So that's really cool. But she's going to be, I can sense that this is going to be a really pivotal experience for her, and she'll be growing even more than she did this past year.
It's kind of a rite of passage, especially when you've been going to that camp.
Yes.
And then being a counselor is like, it's a big deal.
Yeah. And she's taking it seriously. She's like, they have 2 sessions, and then so they have a 3-week session. So some campers come for 3 weeks and then they have a 4-week, and then some campers stay for the whole 7. So she'll have 7 weekers, 4 weekers, and 3 weekers, and she'll be with a co-counselor in her cabin, and they'll be writing camper reports each week for each cabin attendee, if you will. And then she'll be teaching the activity called silversmithing. So she'll have a schedule, and then she'll have a night off and a day off each week. And so I probably won't hear from her for about 10 days.
Yeah.
It's really exciting for her. She's really looking forward to it.
She's so well suited to it. Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
Those were heady days for me.
Well, she has those Oracle cards from Kyle Gray, which probably wouldn't be embraced as well as, so she's going to keep those in her car.
Yeah.
She enjoys those, and they help her ground. So it's a little bit different, but she sees that there's truth when you get to the bottom of it to each faith. And so she's looking for the common ground and the unity. But she's been raised in it and has enough knowledge to stick to the program, if you will, but give it a grace flavor.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
She's
flavor
got-
of grace.
Exactly. And she really does have that.
Mhm.
And she likes sharing it. Jenny.
She does. She does.
That's what's so incredible about her.
Yeah. It's been an interesting thing to observe her.
Mm. Mm. It's a really good name that you chose.
Mm.
Oh, thank you. So glad to share that with us.
Well,
for
thank
being here.
you. Thank you. I was thinking about you guys. I knew you would be here, and I had a few minutes. I think probably the laundry's ready to be transferred, so I should part ways and send my love. I'm sitting in my car outside the hotel because they were having their breakfast. It was getting a little noisy in there. So I apologize. I'm not sitting in my car anymore. I'm sitting in Grace's car. The car. The famous car. We passed a barn that said the Red Barn. I said, Grace, that's not a red barn. That is the Red Barn. The Red Barn. So, well, you all have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and I will touch base with you on the next time. Until then, have a beautiful day.
You too.
Thanks, Gigi.
Hey,
Bye,
Jenny, great
everyone.
to share your presence.
You too. Yeah, just before you leave, I just want to share what I got from your share. Because like you said you guys had a check engine on your car and you were worried about it. And that's interesting to me that, we worry more about our car than we're worried about our body. Because the check engine is the symptoms, right, of the car. And then we explore that car more. So we go to a mechanic and be like, okay, well, it's the catalytic converter and you're okay to drive on it. But our bodies, like what Western medicine has been doing, it's like, oh, wow, let's cover that check engine. Let's not explore it more. Just let's cover that check engine. And then if another check engine comes on, well, let's cover that one too. But let's never explore where it's coming from,
Mm.
right? So I thought it was interesting when you're talking, and we're so worried, right? Like, oh, check engine, oh my God, But like, if we have a little symptoms with our car or like our body, we don't explore it much further.
That's interesting. I kind of look at Western medicine as looking for all of the causes in matter and not in the mental state. So I see
Yeah.
it kind of, where you get something flash as a symptom and they're automatically wanting to fix it. Whereas you can, obviously it's not wisdom to drive without knowing why your car's got the light on. But when you're using your body, you can embrace your body and your thought. So it's a different, but I guess you can embrace your vehicle and your thought too. And, it's all energetic, what you're holding into consciousness
Yeah.
is one way to perceive that. So what do I need to check in my consciousness right now? It's a reminder. Am I aligned? Am I aware that I'm being charged?
Why I'm so worried about my car.
Yeah. Well, as a mom, I'm concerned that she's driving something that's, safe enough for her to get around and
Yeah.
not be stranded. That's the 3D part of it. But the 5D, I know she's totally cool. She's got what she needs every moment. But it is a good reminder to say, okay, it isn't check engine light. It's how do I respond to that? Am I freaking out? Am I okay?
Yeah.
This is a creation. Okay, so what do we need to do? But where am I energetically in that process? So I'm aware that some of the egoic popped in there with both of us when that happened, a little bit of fear. And then,
Oh yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then calm. Okay, well, we're going to go to the parts store, get them to run the little diagnostic and then see what the next step is. And that's interesting with the way life is. You can freak out and freeze, or you can just, okay, here's the next step.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I like that. The other part that you were sharing before, because we talk about detaching from or emotion, and you were saying not that there's anything wrong with the way you react or whatever, but it was interesting because you said like, oh, it was nice to get my daughter to tell me, to be grateful for the laundry, and but like the question is like, can you be in the same state even though your daughter doesn't say anything to you, or
Oh,
never
yeah. Actually, she wasn't,
you know what I mean?
she wasn't talking about the laundry. She was talking about taking this road trip.
Oh,
that,
the road trip. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So some of the parents would just fly their kids up, but I wanted her to have fun so she could have her car there. And but I enjoyed the trip too, but there, it's a long trip. And so
Experience Indiana.
What's
but
that?
to have no
Experience
attachment.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to have no attachment to the feeling, good or bad. You know what I mean? Like if she wouldn't say anything, then it's totally fine. But like we're so attached to like, okay, well, if I'm doing something good for that person, I'm expecting like a return.
Yeah.
But if we don't expect any return, then we're free, right? Like,
yeah.
So we're
That's
not
true.
attached to anything. So yeah, it was, yeah. But yeah, no, I'll let you go. But yeah, thanks
you,
for sharing,
Pascal.
and thank you for, yeah, it's really nice to hear from you.
Great to connect, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye
Awesome.
now.
You too.
Big love.
Bye, Judy.
Bye for now. Bye.
Well, it's 9:45, guys. For me, I'm off to go and
Una Day, thank you so much for this class. Have
Bye,
a great
Allison.
weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, Allison. Thank you.
Bye, Allison. Big love.
Bye.
It's as there are always situations coming up, popping into it, happening. And it's becoming aware of the patterns of those situations, how they trigger us, how we respond to them, how we choose.
Yeah. And yeah, I had one for you too, Jesse. You know, like, because I got in my mind, like, when you share a video of your son that I think he catch the bar, he did like a flip and then he catch the bar again or something like that. And then like you were like cheering hard, you know, it was beautiful to see. But like it's to be like the practice is like to be in that same state, even though he missed the bar,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm.
and that's a hard practice to do, but like it's, you know, so you have no attachment to like the outcome, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
like that way he can enjoy himself. There's no competition, even though there is competition, but if he sees it as a joyful competition, you know,
Yep.
then yeah.
It is, and it's a tough one.
Yeah, no, I can just imagine. I feel it in you. Just because like you put so much energy and then like, you know, you put so much practice in this and you go to a competition and then like you would say, oh, you fail. But like I said, I think a couple of days ago, it's just delayed success, right? There's no failure.
Right. It's like you start out catching 0, you start out catching 1 out of 3, then you start catching 2 out of 3, and then you start catching, 5 out of 6.
Yeah.
You're still gonna miss one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you're having a lot of joy practicing.
Yeah, no, yeah. And not joy missing it, that's for sure. That hurts when they miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so much of the and I like speak it in that we can't help but be attached to it. The only part is to be aware of it, to notice it, and to I see it from that, and then I can change it if I want to. But there's no room, you can't change it if you don't see it.
But now you're not going to be able to not see it because I brought it again in your awareness.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's a choice. Now you got the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe before you didn't have you didn't feel like you had the choice of like going into frustration or whatever like feeling you want to feel. But now you got the choice, right?
Mm-hmm. And as much as I can say, it's not about performing best in the competition, knowing what he wants, right? I think that's the biggest part of it, is being a part of where he wants, where he's going with it, what he's practicing. So, a big goal for him had been to catch that in competitions this year. And that was the first time he did it. And every time that he did it in the competition, he caught it. So he caught it when it mattered. Now, there was definitely a time he didn't need to throw it, and he did. I was nervous because he was not catching it in practice.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. He did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Yeah, right. Don't miss it. And it's like, oh, in the moment, I recognized it, in the moment, but it's still, it's still got a charge on it that pulls us through.
Hmm. Oh,
And
absolutely.
that charge has different degrees to it, and it's all triggered by the situation.
Based on past experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
And
actually triggered by the energy of the situation.
Yeah. And then what we tell ourselves, what words we create about it, and knowing that we can pull those two apart and examine them. Whereas we can make everything so serious, life or death. Good or bad, right or wrong. Right? It can be both. What if it was? Could it be? Surrendering or letting go. Surrendering and letting go.
Yeah, because if you miss it, he's gonna feel that you're disappointed, right? And do you really think it helps for him like to catch it next time?
No, not at all. And I don't know how much it is that matters. I'm sure there's some of it, that to mom and dad will be disappointed, but we try to instill that that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough one in anything with a child, right?
Yeah, because you have no idea what it takes to make them not disappointed.
Yep.
No idea.
No idea. That's their internal process. That's their internal running. And there's a version of it. It's like I am like as the competitor, the child. It's like there's that disappointment, but we don't understand the whole reason, the deepness, the depth of that disappointment. In all reality, and it's all from the experience from the past to be like, oh, I let mom and dad down. It's like, God, I hope not. And I hope that's never in there. Because it's not, right? It's not how I view it. But it could always be, that's always a possibility anytime for any child. And many parents, it does appear that way, even as an observer, as an adult observer.
Yeah, because it's interesting because, like, I'm sure your end goal, it's, you know, for your child to succeed, to have fun, to do all these things, to have all these things. But like by being disappointed by him, like, do you think you're going to encourage like him practicing more, like helping the, like liking the sport better, right?
Mhm.
Like we do this like kind of a, I don't know if I call it unconscious, but it's semi-conscious, I guess, right? We don't think the repercussion of our action, or, and it's not to blame ourselves either, right? Like that's, unless you're aware of it and you're still doing the same mistake, well, or like, then you can, yeah, I don't think you can even blame yourself, but it's just like, when you're aware, like you won't, you know, that's the thing. Yeah. I think I'm thinking all these stuff because baby Kai right now, right? So
When you're aware, you won't. It's like, yeah, obviously, right?
yeah,
It's
but
so true. So true. I mean, one of the favorite phrases is I had someone ask me, like, how do you get him to do that? And it was, we were talking about 24 hours of practice a week, right? And what is he, 7? He was 7 or 8 at the time. And I said, well, that's the first problem. If I had to get him to do anything, it would be miserable. It'd be miserable for all of us.
Yeah.
And it was like, like the way it landed on them was like, oh yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. It's not for me. Now I run a very, you know, with a, to, you know, brag about it. You know, it's like, oh, on the national team, that is what he wanted. He's there. And then for me to be proud and tell it, you know, I do know that adds additional pressure to him. You know, aware of it, we can talk about it, right? And
Yeah.
be like, and it's like, it's not this. It's like, no matter what, we're just proud of the accomplishment of where it's at, and it doesn't have to happen again. I'm here to help you create. That's what I love about it. It's like, how can I help you create what you want?
yeah,
You know, last year we went for first, right? The creation was first because that was what he wanted. Again, he created it this year, and we together, I helped. It's like, well, let's go past first at nationals. And it's like, what's after nationals? Oh, the national team. Great. What does it mean to be on that? Oh, at least the top 5. Great. So really all we need to do is aim for top 5, but I want to be first. Yes, I understand. Have both of them.
Right.
Just in case you
Yes.
can't get one, you can still have a shot for the other, right? It's like, yes, why not? Like, who said you couldn't do that? So I share that was how we were different between the year before and this year in our preparation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
whole different
Yeah,
setup.
you're just a person that bring the tool,
Mhm.
right?
That's
So
right. A tool. Yep.
Space.
Yep.
yeah, to see yourself as a guide instead than a person that tells your child what to do.
Mhm.
You know, just bring whatever environment, whatever equipment, whatever, you know.
You know,
Be
I
just that person.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, when I read that visualizing and meditating, about it, about the routines, about the practice, yeah, I did that, and I did it through my playing years. Didn't know what it was called at the time, but I knew it helped. And then reading the books on it, saying it's 30% of a practice. It's like it's as effective as 30% of a 4-hour practice. Holy crap. That is
Yeah,
a
it's
huge
huge.
advantage. And
Yeah.
I
No
know
kidding.
others are doing it, so
Is your son visualize it too?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
of course.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's 2 years now has been really part of it is sports psychologist who was working with recommended it, so it wasn't my recommendation.
Mm.
Ah.
But it was well, it was. I was planting it that it could be, and then he was like, "Oh, well, she's telling me what you're saying, Dad, but yours is better." Okay,
Oh,
then do
that's
that.
nice.
Right.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're getting into the feeling of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you want? Complete it with what you want. So it was always around, well, I want this new skill. Great. Feel it. The perfect routine. Feel it. Imagine it. Visualize it. Because then your body, right? The body will align with it. And so it's like the perfect routine. That's the intention. The power of focus. What are we focusing on?
Morning.
Aware and unaware of the focus. Because there's so much more I'm unaware of than what I'm aware of.
That's why you stay open.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're open for possibility. It's the beautiful awareness. Well, I'm loving this conversation, guys. This is so good. Loving my vacation.
There's so much power in recognizing our default. There's so much power in resetting the default to be like what we want. Like you said, open and curious. It's like we can never go wrong when we're there.
Yeah, yeah. Because you can always tweak it.
Yep. Yep.
You
It's-
just keep adjusting to the feedback.
Mhm, mhm. And it becomes a new pattern, a new way of being with it, and it's more joyful than being fixed and permanent and trying to just keep it the same.
Yeah, yeah. Now that's
I mean, like-
interesting. As you guys were talking, there's something that came out in my awareness, and that is that there's certain experiences, and there's certain energies and certain tasks, I guess you could call them, that are designated for me. And this is like cosmic intelligence speaking into my life. And so the thing is, I can pursue things from my 3D reality that I think are mine, and I have I have the choice to take ownership of them, or I can surrender to what higher intelligence has designated for me in this particular life experience. And it's a whole different thing. That's been a theme for me, especially the last few months, is exploring what the field has for me to bring into the 3D reality. And that's what I mean by that designated part. So the three of us who are here, because we've been doing this over and over again every day, the three of us were designated, or kind of pre-intended, I guess would be a good word for it, pre-intended to be doing this work and exploring these things. Ooh, that's a good word. Intended. Wow. And so as I become more and more aware of what's pre-intended for me, I can consciously choose to be or live in sync with that, in sync with that awareness. Like what I'm saying is that there's a higher intention that brought us together. and awareness got us here.
Yeah. And and not not asking the question why or what we're doing it for or putting those conditions on it, right? Just showing up with it. I love the pre-intention. It's a paradoxical. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, that is what it is. And again, it's like we sit here and it's like from the outside, why do we do it? Well, it's like we have our reasons for it, but not for unsure of where is it really going.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't have to know where it's
That's right.
going. We
Right.
realized that pretty early.
Yeah, right.
You know, just step back and receive the miracle as it unfolds for you.
That's right. Knowing in
It
due
was
time it
pre-intended.
will unfold. That's right.
was
It will
pre-intended.
unfold.
Yeah. And that includes the timing of it too.
Yep. And that is so hard to grasp, to wrap our head around in a world that says everything's got to be a return, everything has to show results, everything has to be this in a competitive outcome when we're
Show proof.
Yep. I mean, it's you know, how is that making you any money?
Yeah. So we
Oh,
have
all
we
sorts
have
of
proof,
money.
but it's measured in abundance, which can't
all
actually
sorts
be.
of, that's right. All sorts of value that you can't see. That an outsider, especially one that has never attended a session, is trying to tell us that it's how to make money with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or saying you aren't, or like questioning you aren't, or how is it, you know, it's like someone that's never even attended.
Right. Tells you there's no value in it.
Yes. It's like, come on.
I've been told that too over and over again. I just laugh. In fact, I've been following a number of these ads about people that want to help you write your book, or they want you to they want to get you on stages and all these kind of things. And you know, I keep inviting all of these people that I interview with. I keep inviting them all into a co-creative space with me. And even after I tell them where I'm coming from, and you know, that kind of space has created industries that are worth $500 billion and other stuff like that, they still don't get it. Like, they still don't, you know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting, but I'm going to keep doing that because sooner or later, I actually ran across one person who wants to keep talking to me. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, and then not until you do it or the proof is there, and then it's like everybody wants to be a part of it then.
Well, that's the thing.
Yep.
You know,
It seems as if everyone where they are is always looking to go up. So they're only looking for the help that's above them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. But they're only looking for the help that they can see.
That's
So I
right.
remember, like when I developed online learning, once that contract ended, I became an evangelist for online learning, and still, and emerging technologies in general, right? And the weird thing about being in that position is there's very little money in that because people don't believe it. That's part of the reason why you're doing what you're doing. And it's kind of comical when I think about it.
Yeah. Well, it's
And the same thing's happening now. It's because we're introducing thought that nobody's ever considered before. And here I am again. What's interesting is I know that this time it's going to be complete involvement in what is created and sustainable, like continued involvement in what's created.
Mhm.
So I'm patient because I've been here before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming
This
soon.
time though, it's
coming
emerging
soon.
spirit. It's emerging spirituality now. It's not emerging technology, which to me is just 5D technology.
Mhm.
What we're working with right now. So it's kind of the same stuff. The really cool thing about this is that when you're working in the 5D with all this new stuff, nobody can wreck it. Like, in from my vantage point, where I was way ahead of all the development that actually happened. Things like how the internet has turned out and how online learning has turned out are a really big disappointment to me. Because it's like everybody's capitalized on the really kind of useless parts of what was envisioned, and and have exploited it blindly. And like even the idea of the internet, like even the truth that there's a dark web, and that so many people are exploiting the old structures and an extreme profitability and all that kind of stuff. Like even the gurus, even the self-help gurus out there are just taking something that's really, really valuable and are making a mockery of it. But this work we're doing in the 5D, nobody can do that. Because if you get like that, if you get dark energy about it, it's not gonna work, because it's not in alignment with pre-intention. It's not in alignment with cosmic intelligence. It's not in alignment with universal love either.
Best, like
Not in
for our
alignment with everyone benefits.
That's right. Equal is the best word that I have for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
It
those,
doesn't stick.
yeah. Well, it can't.
No.
It can't stick when you're dealing with communion and you're dealing with equal, and all those things. I really love that word, Pascal. So glad you brought that in yesterday. Communion. Oh man, that is a really, really powerful value.
And the homeostasis.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesse,
Yeah.
don't take credit for it.
Yeah. You can't experience homeostasis when your mindset is competitive. It's not even available to you.
Because the pressure is always present.
Right, exactly. In fact, that whole mindset is based on pressure.
That's right. And pressure is just a version of tension.
Right. Yeah, and people just own. They learn to own the tension. The tension itself.
Well, we learn to respond to it. There's always tension. We learn to respond to it. And if there's responding to the pressure, then it's in the resistance too. And the tension we want is flowing, is attracted, compelled, seduced, pulled to.
Yeah.
Flowing. Flowing tension.
I got to tell you guys this because this kind of ties everything back into to what we're talking about right now, and it also ties in badminton. So badminton was actually a high school sport where I went to school, and interesting thing was badminton season was at the same time as track season, and before. No, it isn't before I started playing badminton. But anyways, I used to play like lawn badminton a lot when I was really young, when I was like elementary school age. But then when I was in about fifth or sixth grade, I got really interested in competitive running. And when I was in high school, I would get up in the morning and I'd run 5 miles before breakfast. Like it was kind of that much. And I had a running partner. This is actually when I discovered flow, is we would get in a really good rhythm together, and we'd look down because we couldn't feel our legs moving. It was really funny. We'd get into flow where you couldn't feel your legs moving, and it was like fascinating because we said, "Okay, Murray, are my legs moving?" I'd say, "Yeah, Craig, your legs are moving. Are mine?" So it was my first introduction. Yeah, it was my first introduction to flow, to the flow state. And
now that was your trigger.
Well,
that was your awareness trigger.
Yeah, well, exactly. And so anyway, so yeah, so that was the introduction to the flow state. But then the thing is, I couldn't be on the badminton team and participate in track to the level that I wanted to participate. So I had to choose between the two. But the thing is, what I would do is I would go after school, and I would work out and be like one of the seed competitors for the people who had made the team, the badminton team. And what I realized very quickly is that badminton was a really quick way to get into the flow state for me. Like I'd be in total joy in a matter of seconds. I wouldn't have to run a couple miles to get there. And so I really loved that instant flow state that happened for me with badminton. So anyway, so I just wanted to share that because I thought it was kind of significant today. The joy of badminton.
Yeah. Flow only happens when we are experiencing the joy.
Correct.
When we're allowing joy, we're not even focusing on it. We're not even aware of it. It's just happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's no time and space.
Well, that's why the step into innocence, when I took superconscious intuition and that whole step into innocence thing, that just rung a bell right away for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy. It kind of surprises me that it wasn't until today, though, that I realized that badminton was instant joy for me. That's a really good anchor for me.
Yeah.
To refer to.
That was the word I was looking for. Was the anchor for it, or the trigger.
Yeah. Are my legs moving?
Yep. It was the unsaid moment of recognizing flow without saying, "Oh, is it flow?
Right.
Are you in flow? I'm in flow. We're in flow."
Really funny about that is that happened about 30 years before they called it that.
Right.
So
That's right.
which is pretty damn typical for me.
Yeah.
Yep. The 30-year gestation period.
Those things are still happening today. Yeah, coming aware of them. It's innovation, it's change, and there's degrees of them, right? There's minor, there's minor, let's see, minor, major, and radical. There's 4 of them, but those are minor, major, and radical. And radical is people don't understand it. They can't put common sense to it.
Right.
Because
it doesn't have any.
That's right. That's right. It's like, flow 30 years ago, online learning 30 years ago, Zoom 30 years ago, that type of thing.
Yep.
And it's like, that's what it feels like to me in many of the areas that I'm dealing with is on the verges of that.
Right, exactly.
And there's major changes, but there are major changes that happen after the radical one takes place.
True, yes. Yeah.
people have to respond to them from a competitive point of view, competitive advantage, right? You have to respond to the major ones because it's huge shifts in the marketplace.
Yep. Yep.
And minor ones, they don't change much of anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, what is the radical innovation that we are doing here?
Well, here's what's coming to me, and that is that you know, I've already proven my genius as far as preconception is concerned. Okay, and go back to Napoleon Hill's statement of conceive, believe, achieve. Like I'm a front runner in that. And proven to be that person who's the spark, who's the initiator, who's the originator in the 3D space, the originator of field energy into the 3D space. Already proved that, okay? But the thing is, I became an evangelist for those things. And so as such, I was working on the belief level. But I wasn't really that successful at that part of it, at the belief level. But these things were brought into manifestation anyway, besides that. But here's the difference now, is that what I understand now is anything I preconceive now, I'll actually get to participate all the way through to its manifestation, to its reality, to its thing, because that's a condition of my participation, is that I'm part of this. We don't develop this together unless I'm part of this for as long as I'm alive, kind of thing. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And the thing is, it's not even anything that has to be contracted, because the thing is, I also know that this stuff can't develop without me. Because of what hasn't shown up yet. So I'm dying to explore those unexplored parts of online learning that nobody else knows about but me. For example, because I'm still embodying the could.
And if you explore the could, there's a possibility that someone else is doing the same thing as you.
Yeah, but they will be allies. They'll be co-creators, Pascal.
Yeah.
That's the way this works. You know, because none of this stuff can be done as an individual.
Right.
You know, it can't even be developed as an individual. It could be started as an individual, but it can't be developed as an individual.
It's too
See, I
big for
don't-
one person.
Well, exactly. I don't have the energy to do the work. That's not my energy blueprint isn't set up to be the one to be the one that does the work. My energy blueprint is about being the originator and the initiator and the visionary and the synthesizer of everything, the one that puts all the one that can see how the parts all fit together.
Sounds radical innovation to me.
Yep. So the hard part from here is the patience part. Because I'm seeing this is all unfolding to me and I'm going like, oh man, I'm dying to get started, but we're already started. Is kind of my point. Like us meeting together here 214 days or whatever it is, this is the start of it. So I'm so glad that you guys are here because I so want to share all this stuff with you. It's gonna, our lives are going to be so damn amazing. It's going to blow you away.
So good. Then we sit in what could be next.
Yeah. We just keep swimming in the potential.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's how I got started.
That's how we got started. That's how everything starts.
Mhm.
Yeah, swim in the potential and allow it to show up. You know,
Yep.
anticipate it, expect it. Like when we first started this, I anticipated that genius was going to show up. I anticipated that. But now, after this many days, I expect it. I know it's repeatable and actually repeating. I trust it. I trust the a yes process.
No. I'm complete for this morning. You guys want to keep going?
I gotta go because I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually getting certified as a hypnotherapist over the next
cool.
3 days. Yeah. Well, it's one of the things that was really helpful to me in my journey. It was probably the most helpful thing that I did to kind of make my way back to well-being. So I figure it's worth knowing about it, and it's run by Joy Willett, and Joy Willett is a MagMind person who I met her in November at the 3-day, and she was at the 5-day as well, and we hit it off big time. And so yeah, so I'm letting her teach me how to be a hypnotherapist.
Sweet.
Yep. Yeah, sweet.
And we can explore past lives
Mm-hmm.
or anything else. Akashic record. That's what I'm.
Yep.
I'd love to learn about. Yeah.
You ever had your Akashic records read?
No,
It's worth.
no.
worth
I
it.
Yeah, I saw podcasts about a couple podcasts back to back, and then I was just like,
Definitely do it.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of on the basis of that was part of the reason why I started exploring this whole area with Jesse.
Mhm.
Has to do with my Akashic records, my astrology, my human design, all that stuff. Because all of it is significant, as it turns out. Each one of those is a different way of looking at your life. So it's really, really helpful. Especially for someone who grew up in a rigid church. That basically preached every day that there was only one way of doing things.
Yeah, for me, like I wouldn't mind like to know my life path, right? Like where I'm at,
Yeah,
right? What's the kind of sticking point that, you know, a little breakthrough that I can, you know, push through? Because I feel like I have so much interest,
yeah,
but it's like I'm not starting anything, right? It's just like,
right.
And I've always been like that, you know, like we were talking, like I love badminton, I love, you know, so many sports, but I wouldn't practice it every day, you know.
That's
So
neurodiversity.
it's like, yeah, big
When
time,
I-
big time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's, in fact, I wrote to somebody that was, I wrote back to somebody, neurodiversity is Mother Nature's way of preparing human beings in advance for the world that is emerging.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm actually going to call myself an evangelist.
Evangelist, yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Guy Kawasaki. Yeah, in the early days of Apple Computer, they had people in their organization that were called that. They were the evangelism team. They were the ones that they weren't the people that sold the computers to the schools, but they were the ones that made people aware that Apple Computer was in the business of educational computing, of having a computer as an education tool. And I was never an Apple evangelist. I could have been. I was never an Apple evangelist, but I was an Apple developer for a number of years back then.
So in your opinion, what's you said neural diversity or something, right?
Neurodiverse. It's
neurodiverse
people with
should be doing.
neurodiverse. Yeah.
So what do you think a person like this should do?
You got about 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can get in. Maybe we can get into that tomorrow. No,
Yeah, we
neurodiverse.
can.
Neurodiverse people are people that their primary mode of thinking is focusing on about a dozen different things at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to focus on one thing and to concentrate is like death to these people.
Uh-huh.
Okay. They
I
think
follow
very
you.
conceptually, very abstract, nonverbal, artistic, creative. All of them are extremely creative, like right off the charts creative.
I think that's my blockage there, because I don't see
totally.
myself as creative.
Totally. Well, because the 3D world and our left brain society has its own idea of what creativity even is, and it's not. It's just a tip of that iceberg.
Yeah.
You know, and it shows up in things like technologies and stuff like that.
Right.
So here's just an example for you. I see a world where language won't be necessary.
Mm-hmm. So telepathic communication,
Energetic communication.
energetic communication.
So you want somebody to feel an emotion, you can actually project that emotion to them. Project that feeling to them. You know, you never have to ask the question, what do you mean? Because you'll be able to project the meaning and the other person will be able to pick it up. Pick up the energy of the meaning.
Right. Wow, it's interesting.
And I mean, we're practicing that every day. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
We're communicating energetically. We're using words, we're using concepts, we're bouncing ideas off each other. We're doing that whole mix. But over all of that, we are communicating on a very energetic level, back and forth. And we're getting good at it because we practice it every day.
Yeah, and it's funny to me because like my way of learning is through analogy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, you know, like I can hear blah 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 blah, and I won't retain anything. And then you're gonna give me one analogy, and I'll retain this for the rest of my life.
Now you think that's true, but the other side of it is too, you're actually absorbing everything.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like, if you say, "Well, what did we talk about?" I won't know. Like,
Oh yeah, because it's not stored in your brain memory.
Yeah,
it's not stored
exactly.
there. It's not available for recall.
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
not
there's no
stored
room
there.
for it.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
there's
it's
no
not
room
stored
for
there. It's just not stored there. It's stored somewhere else.
Yeah,
It's stored in your muscles or your cells or whatever.
yeah.
But if it's stored there, then that makes it part of the field, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what people can't
Yeah, it's
figure
like-
out, is that their brain isn't part of the field. It doesn't have any connection to the field directly.
And the reason why I keep searching for information is because that brain doesn't know anything.
Well, exactly. That's why you keep buying these courses and keep watching these videos and keep doing all this stuff.
Yeah. And I bought a lot of them.
Well, yeah, because you've been taught that's how education works, and that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Education
Yeah.
works. We are practicing education every day in this thing. That's how education works. By drawing out each other's genius and then playing ping pong with it. That's how education works. It doesn't work it's not information. There's no information in it. It's just energy.
Yeah.
It's just energy and meaning in energy. It's on a totally different plane.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, imagine when we're going to be at that point that we're going to see energy. Like, a lot of us like feel energy.
Well, you told us yesterday that you see energy. You talked about
Well,
seeing
yeah.
auras
Yeah,
around
yeah.
trees,
It's
right?
true. It's true. It's true. But like to an extent that like, a car is not a car. I just see energy, right? Like I just see atom.
Yeah.
With space in between, you know what I mean? It's just like and the concept of like, in the dream, I can walk through a wall, but in reality, I cannot. Well, when I open my eyes, I cannot.
Right. So, can you walk through a wall or not?
I can.
Yes. Because in your dream you can, which means you can.
Yeah.
The story says that there was two guys that walked on the water that day. And whether or not you believe that Jesus was God and that's what gave him the ability to do all that stuff or not, Peter walked on the water too.
After Jesus?
Yes. So that means that I can walk on water too, because I'm a human being, just like Peter.
Yeah.
The only reason I can't is because I don't believe it yet.
Because you haven't seen anybody doing it. That's one thing.
Well, all I've got is a story.
Yeah.
That tells me that happened.
True. Yeah.
And I believe the story, but I don't totally believe the story yet.
Uh-huh.
Because it's easier to believe that Jesus walked on the water than it is to believe that Peter walked on the water. But it's actually easier to believe that nobody walked on the water.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's our default setting, right?
Yep. Yep.
I don't want to believe that someone done that beside me.
Yeah, it's much easier to believe what everybody around you believes. That's kind of our default. All that. To believe what everybody else around us believes.
The power of the unconscious.
Well, yeah, and then it becomes unconscious, and there it is. Yeah, keeps showing up. That belief keeps showing up that way. Yeah. But it's not true either. But we've chosen that it is true. We've chosen to believe it, whether consciously or not. And it looks like a default because there's consensus. Because in our society, the majority rules, and that's kind of the way it is. Well, gentlemen, I gotta go because my class is starting.
No worries. So enjoy.
I really don't want to break it up here, but keep cooking on that all day, and maybe we'll expand on it a little bit more tomorrow,
Yeah.
or maybe not. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Whatever it takes us, right?
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Yep. You too.
too,
Big
guys.
love, everybody.
Bye.
Big love to
Bye.
you guys too.
Big love. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.